Trump says he is considering a full pardon for boxing legend Jack Johnson some 71 years after his death. Johnson, the son of former slaves, made history in the early 20th century as the first black man to earn the title of heavyweight champion of the world. He became champion in 1908 at a time when boxing was a mostly segregated sport. Now, a few years later, he was convicted by an all-white jury of taking his white girlfriend across state lines for, quote, immoral purposes. Supporters say the law he was convicted under was racist, and they've sought a pardon for him for years, while the president now tweeting that it was none other than actor Sylvester Stallone of Rocky fame who encouraged him to look at this case. He wrote of Johnson, his trials and tribulations were great, his life complex and controversial. Others have looked at this over the years. Most thought it would be done, but yes, I am considering a full pardon. I want to bring in my panel now, CNN political commentator and New York Times op-ed columnist Charles Blow and CNN contributor and former NFL wide receiver Dante Stallworth. So guys, this is a president who has taken a strong stance against black activism in sports. He famously said this about NFL players who kneel during the anthem.
Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you know what he said, but hey, call halal, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem Kwakadash, the one that said possibly that was a great millstone. Peace and salutations to you Akim out there, you sincere Akim out there, the hopeful elect, laboring across the four corners of the earth. And as you can see, we're still in it. We're still here in America. We're still under the thumb of these wicked, proud ass fucking Edomites. Excuse me. And just to go in real quick, the subject came up about Jack Johnson, black heavyweight, famous because he fought during the Jim Crow era. He became the black heavyweight because you still had segregated in boxing. You still had segregated classes, and basically he's the black heavyweight. They gave him a shot at the title, and he won the title and became the first just regular heavyweight. Because these Edomites knew, once we get in the ring with them, we were gonna take over. And just to give a little bit of history, his prime, he was knocking all these white boys out pretty much. And these guys a lot of times were boxing with no gloves on. They were just doing bare knuckle boxing. Then now you see the gloves, and this guy was a warrior. And interestingly enough, man, this guy, he was traveling the world. You had different people. He was ahead of his time, basically. He was traveling the world, and he was marrying white women during the Jim Crow era. And but concerning this particular case, man, just you can see how proud these Edomites are. Their head once again, is up their asses, because you still got a lot of Israelites who say that the Edomites can make it when they cannot. But here it is. They're talking about we're going to post-humously, meaning after his death, we're going to pardon. We're going to pardon him, which basically what happened to him, he did a year in jail because he violated, they created the Mann Act in order to forbid, the Mann Act is where they forbid you to take a woman across state lines for immoral purposes, right, which that law was created up for him because he'd be taking these Edomite women who were fans, who were groupies, and he'd be taking them from state to state, basically. And basically, like I say, for more than 13 years, Jack Johnson was the most famous and most notorious African American on earth. And where's it at? It's a lock here. But that's okay. Basically, they're gonna go on to tell you how for 13 years, basically, Jack Johnson, because what he did, he posted bail, and then he traveled to South America, he traveled over to Europe, he traveled the world and dodged the U.S. Then later on, in 1920, I believe, they finally caught up to him. And then in his final fight, basically he was beating the shit out of this white boy for 25 rounds, and in the 26th round, he got knocked out, which basically they're saying he took a dive in the fight, which I would believe. Now, it says he took a dive. Many people thought he purposely threw the fight because Willard was a white in the effort to have his Mann Act charges dropped. Yeah, exactly. So that just goes to show you, man, that we're still in this man system. You know, no matter how much you know, because the scriptures talk about the more wisdom you gain, the more sorrowful you become, basically, because you know the situation that you're in. You know, and this is the case for all athletes. You could use some of this. You know, no matter how great they are, how far they can jump, how hard they can hit, you're still under this man's system. You're still under this man's thumb. If they want to, you know, lock you up on some bullshit charges, they could do that. They want to, they could do that. But it's gonna be a recompense for everything that happens. It's Obadiah 1:3. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? And that's these Edomites. Who shall bring us down? You know, maybe I'll consider pardoning this guy, even though you can clearly see that this is bullshit. You look up Jack Johnson, you look up the Mann Act, you look up the Jim Crow shit and why they made the law. You can clearly see. So this man is on 10 with pride, and have the nerve, not while the man is alive, but when he's dead, to try to pardon him. Like, what the fuck is that gonna do? The same goes with Muhammad Ali. You took X amount of years for his life because he didn't want to serve in the war because he failed the Army's test, and then they took away basically his prime years as a champion, and so he had to keep fighting when he was old, and once he died, you got all these good white people smiling and waving and shit, but when he was here, they would destroy him. They were trying to destroy him and destroy his legacy. Same with Jack Johnson. They was hunting him. They probably they definitely had federal agents on him. They were watching everything he was doing. These people are full of shit. And that goes for all these old champions. George Foreman, all these guys, they grow old. Mike Tyson, they grow old and they're still, which I read a report that said he was fighting till he was 60. He was in his 60s still boxing. And that's the curses that are upon us, man. Curses when you go in, curses when you go out. And now of course you do have a few exceptions to every rule, but that's insane, man, that these guys are still in the ring at 60 some years old. But Revelation 22:11, he that is unjust, let him be unjust still. And he which is filthy, let him be filthy still. He that is righteous, let him be righteous still, right? He that is holy, let him be holy still. So hey, you know, our people are going to the devil, and that's another thing that's happening. Our people are trying to go on TV with the devil and discuss things, and let's sit down and have a panel about how things should be with the damn serpent's wife. You know, she's a serpent herself, and that's not going to solve anything. You know, hey, that's why the men of the Lord, we say fuck Esau, we say fuck this society, let the wicked be wicked still, and the Most High, according to Obadiah, the rest of Obadiah, he's going to destroy this place. And that's it, man. You can, you know, of course, you can look up Jack Johnson. He's got some, a few clips on him, but yeah, man, this is pure bullshit. Bullshit that he would even try to entertain this, because another thing too, Trump is seeing, he's seeing the patterns in our community. He's seeing how, to an extent, there's a community of people who are looking for answers, who are looking for spiritual answers, and who are trying to move our people in a positive direction. But the only direction we're going to be able to go is if you call on our power. If you come back to your nationality. You know, the conscious thing, that's not going to help you. Hell, even the money thing. Money is a defense, but money in the day of tribulation, money's not going to do shit for you. So it has to be according to the prophecy of the Bible. But with that being said, all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai. Double honor to the apostles, the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to you, sincere Akim, pushing across the four corners of the earth. Abad Babal, destruction on this fucking place, and destruction on these proud ass Edomites. Shalom.